This InFocus Vision 3 Pro is an upgraded version of the InFocus 3 that was launched late last year. But here's the thing, when you compare it to the Vision 3, sure, this thing is better, but you have new hitters like the Xiaomi Redmi Note 5 and the Asus ZenFone Max Pro M1, which are really good at what they do. So do you think this has a chance to take them down? Well, there's only way to find out. But before we go ahead, be sure to subscribe to the Gadgets 360 YouTube channel and don't forget to click on the bell icon so that you are the first to know when we have a new video. The Vision 3 Pro has a metal back which gives it a good feel in the hand, but at the same time it has plastic end caps at the top and the bottom which hide the antenna lines and also help to keep the cost down. At the front, it has a 5.7-inch HD Plus display which has good colors and viewing angles. It can get bright enough to be viewable in direct sunlight. It has an 18:9 aspect ratio, which means that it is tall and narrow, which makes it comfortable to hold in the hand, but you will need to stretch your finger to hit the volume buttons. It has a micro USB port at the bottom between two grills, out of which only the left one has the loudspeaker. And speaking of audio, the 3.5mm headphone jack is on the top. The Vision 3 Pro is a dual SIM device and has a hybrid SIM slot. It has one micro SIM slot and a nano SIM slot. At the back, the Vision Pro has a dual camera setup with a single LED flash right next to it. The fingerprint sensor is at the back and in the center, and it's convenient to hit. We found that the phone is light and the rounded edges make it comfortable to hold in the hand. In the box with the Vision 3 Pro, you get a set of in-ear headphones, a micro USB cable and a 7.5 watt charger. Sure, these are free, but let's face it, if you like listening to your music, you should consider buying another pair of headphones, preferably ones that aren't tearable. Now for the internals. These have been upgraded to justify the Pro tag. The InFocus Vision 3 Pro is powered by a MediaTek MT6750 octa-core processor. It has 4 GB of RAM and 64 GB of internal storage, which is further expandable up to 128 GB. On the software front, the phone runs on Android 7.0 Nougat, which feels outdated now that Android Oreo has been here for a while. InFocus has added a few customizations to the OS like Intelligent Acceleration, which is a RAM management app, defragmentation, background app management that let you decide if you want to keep the app running in the background or not, and auto start management. InFocus has also included something that it calls special settings. Now it has app twins, which is similar to dual apps, which lets you have two instances of the same app, gesture control, screen recording, and private space that lets you lock down apps using a special pin. Now talking of options that InFocus has included, they've also added Face Unlock, which we found to be quick to unlock the phone. The processor on this phone, though dated, is powerful enough to handle calling, messaging on social media and general web browsing. But we saw that the phone will keep killing apps in the background to keep RAM free, which we found to be unnecessary considering this has 4 GB of RAM on board. Now when it comes to benchmarks, well, we did compare it to a few other phones and found that the Redmi 5 scores higher than the Vision 3 Pro. Well, we also compared it to the Asus ZenFone Max Pro M1 and found that the Asus scores twice as much in every single benchmark compared to this phone. Well, that's actually quite good for the Asus, right? Basic games run well, but we did observe stutter while playing graphic intensive ones. And the battery life on this thing is heavily dependent on what you're doing with it. So if you use it for basic purposes, you should be fine. But if you are into a lot of gaming, then you will observe higher battery drain. And it also gets warm after 15 minutes of gaming. The Vision 3 Pro managed 12 hours and 18 minutes in our HD video loop test and lasted us 1 day with basic usage. But if you are among the ones who game quite often, then you'll need to find this plug a little early. The InFocus Vision 3 Pro has a dual camera setup at the back, which consists of a 13 megapixel primary sensor and an 8 megapixel sensor with a wide angle lens. And when it comes to features, the app has time-lapse mode, beauty, panorama and a pro mode apart from the usual video and photo modes. You also have a quick toggle to switch between the normal and the wide angle lens. Dive a little down inside the setting and you have multi-mode, which helps you capture a collage kind of an image, picture-in-picture, or as InFocus calls it, dual-fee, which uses both the front and the rear camera to click a photo, and apart from that you have effects and the HDR mode. Talking about photos, well, photos clicked from the primary sensor in daylight are decent, but they lose out on some detail in landscape shots. The secondary sensor with its wide angle lens helps you capture a wider frame, but it also misses out on details. It also gets autofocus, but it is slower than the 13 megapixel primary sensor. And we did not notice barrel distortion or vignetting when using this sensor. We did see some lag when clicking photos in portrait mode, and the edge detection on this thing still needs improvement. Macro shots have decent amount of detail and good separation between the subject and the background. However, the output was a little dull. Camera performance in low light isn't all that great. It manages to keep noise under control, but at the cost of details. When shooting in low light, it drops the shutter speed down, which requires a steady hand for a blur-free shot. Video recording maxes out at 1080p for both cameras front and back, but competitors like the Redmi Note 5 have 4K video recording. Well, talking about the video recording on this device, well, there's no video stabilization present, and the 13 megapixel selfie camera clicks good selfies and switches to the beauty mode by default when clicking. Zoom into a selfie and you will see that details aren't all that great, but the image is still shareable on social media apps. The InFocus Vision 3 Pro has a better build quality and powerful internals compared to the InFocus Vision 3. It has received a powerful but older processor, more RAM and storage. However, the competition has leveled up significantly, and phones like the Redmi 5, the Redmi Note 5 managed to beat the Vision 3 Pro easily. The recently launched Asus ZenFone Max Pro M1 is priced similarly at 10,999 rupees and makes the Vision 3 Pro look overpriced for what it offers. So if you are in the market looking at a smartphone at this price point, well, you may want to skip the InFocus Vision 3 Pro and look at the Asus ZenFone Max Pro M1 instead. And that was our review of the InFocus Vision 3 Pro. What do you think about it? Let us know. And as always, for all things tech, log on to guys360.com.